All right, let's get started. Welcome to this meetup of Swiss ERPNext chapter, the meetup number 2. Here we're going to talk about how to supercharge your invoicing with QR bill. The Swiss have introduced a new standard for invoicing their customers, or any business can invoice any other business or customers using a new standard called the Swiss QR bill. And we thought we should make a session because it's just gone live about 4 or 5 months ago. And we thought that we should do a session on understanding the parts of the QR bill, what is the history behind it and where it is going. We'll also show you some resources if you want to learn more about it. And then we can also show you some tools where you can generate these QR bills. We'll also show you what is the relevance of this for ERPNext. Let me spotlight myself. How do I do that here?
It says spotlight video content isn't supported. So just go into normal presentation mode and.
Okay, here it is. All right, so here we go.
I know, but go back to because we don't see the presentation. We see you and I see you in the main screen. Yeah, so don't spotlight yourself, otherwise you don't see the presentation.
Is that right? Okay. So first, housekeeping questions are welcome. Please put them in the chat. We'll leave some time in the end. So let's do that.
Still, we don't see the presentation.
Don't see the presentation yet. Okay. Exit spotlight. And now?
Yeah. Okay, now just put on presentation mode and we're good to go. We see you in the bottom corner.
Okay. So questions are welcome. Please put them in the chat. We will leave some time in the end for questions. However, if you feel like you have to stop me and ask a question, or if you have any comments, don't hesitate to stop. Would be great if you can mute yourself when you're not speaking, so that would be really, really helpful for everybody. We'll be recording this session, so I hope you all agree to that. So today what we'll cover a quick introduction to Grin. What is ERPNext, the salient features of ERPNext. We might skip that topic to keep it short or to cut down the time. We'll quickly talk about the QR bill, and with that we'll also touch upon the orange slip or the history of QR bill, parts of QR bill, how to generate it, what are the options you have, and so on and so forth. About Grin, Bradley is co-hosting at the moment, and you can hear him speak as well. He and I started Grin in end of 2017, and ever since there you are. And ever since we've been helping small and medium-sized companies implement ERPNext in the business. We have helped some companies migrate from Oracle NetSuite into ERPNext. We have helped companies consolidate their app ecosystem into ERPNext. So we've done several of these projects, and we are always happy to help other people. We are big promoters and fan of ERPNext, of course, and open source systems. That's why we are promoting it. We use ERPNext in our family business. Both Bradley and I run family businesses back in India, and we use ERPNext for our family business. Bradley, of course, runs it in South Africa. Our team members come with a variety of experience, including for finance, supply chain, data, and the cloud. And that's why we are such a good team together, because we bring different expertise and with different background, and we always put our heads together to solve our customers' problem, and it always works out very nicely. We do ERPNext implementation. Also, we do data integration and automation for like auto generating of invoices and things like that. We do extract, transform, offload. For example, if you want to do dashboarding. We also do marketing and e-commerce for small and medium-sized companies. So that's also additional features, additional services that we offer. So ERPNext, what is ERPNext and salient feature? I think I'm going to skip this topic completely because I think most of you are aware of ERPNext, so I'm not going to dwell on this too much. But let's go to the QR bill itself. So QR bill, let's take a look at it. Let's see what we can investigate with this, how to understand it. So let's understand who are the parties involved. Like I said, the history of QR bill, the original orange slip for those living in Switzerland. You've been receiving this mails in your post box with an orange slip for payments. Let's look at a little bit of the history of that, or at least let's look at the parts of it. Current QR bill structure, what goes into that QR bill, parts of QR bill, again, like I said, how to generate it easily. Is there an ERPNext app? That's a very important question. We'll answer that and what you can expect in the future. Sorry. So why do we need QR bill? Why is this so important now? One thing is people are more and more realizing that we want to reduce paper consumption, so people don't want to send QR bills. Oh, sorry, the ESR bills. So they want to send everything digitally. So that's becoming more and more important. And the other benefit is that people have to order these pre-printed payment slips, that's the orange slips. And now with this QR bill or the QR code bill, it's no longer necessary because you can generate that bill yourself. It also helps in process automation, simplified settlements. The QR bill contains complete information. So the entire parts of the QR bill gets encoded into the QR code. And this is the step before we go to full e-invoicing or e-bill. It's already live, but it's not fully adopted yet, but it's coming in the near future. So let's look at the parties involved in a QR bill or any billing process. So typically you have a supplier. Let's say you're a supplier to somebody else, and then you have a customer. So somebody you need to send an invoice to, and you have a bank account, a Swiss bank account, who's where you collect the money. So typically you don't take the money directly by cash. If you're doing a modern way of business, then you always receive your money in your bank account, and it has to be a Swiss bank account. Let's look at the parts of ESR bill. And also just to note that this system of ESR or the orange slip is ending on the 30th of September 2022. So it's only about 1.5 years before this is no more used. If you look at the ESR bill or the orange slip, typically what you see is there are a few parts to it. There's a part here, there's a part here, part number 3, 4, and 5. So what are these parts? What do they say? We have broken it down a little bit for you. So number 1 is the ISR identification number, which basically is the registration number of the supplier or the supplier. It's unique, and you have to register it through a bank to get that number. It's a 6-digit number. Then the part number 2 is a roughly 20-digit invoice number, something that you can generate yourself. And then the third part is, let me go quickly to the third part, which is conto number or an account number. That's the ISR participant number. And that is your typically what is this? The bank identifier. So this identifies the bank here. And typically it's a 9-digit number. And if it's all the 9-digit numbers are not available, then you can fill it up with zeros. The number 4 is amount. What is the amount you need to pay? And then the last one is a check digit over here. That's just a technical number that the software will check if everything is okay. Now, this used to be the structure, and what used to happen is this used to be going into a optical recognition tool, OCR tool, and all these numbers would be read by a computer and generated into a payment information. But as you can see, these numbers are difficult to read for a computer because it has to use some kind of a machine learning or artificial intelligence like tool, and that can make mistakes. So in order to avoid that, they've come up with the QR bill. So this is the history of that. Not very efficient and doesn't carry much information, and it's difficult to read. So these are some of the resources that you can look up. There's a tool where you can check if the your QR bill is valid or not. You can also find a lot of details about the ESR, the old bill. 6 is the payment standard holder in Switzerland. That means they make the standards pretty much together with other banks, but they are the key people in this. They are the custodians of the payment standard for Switzerland. And there are some frequently asked questions and some more reference here in a PDF document. So if you want to see that, you can look it up yourself. If we deep dive into QR bill, what you'll see is, again, a few important details, starting with, who it is being paid to, who's the supplier who's supposed to receive the money, a reference number that is generated as per this ISO number. Again, this can be obtained through your bank. The details about the invoice, for example, here you can code what is the VAT, or you can also say if you paid within 30 days, you can get a discount of X%, and so on and so forth. And this is who the invoice is being sent to. Sarah Beispiel is the lady who's supposed to pay this invoice, and this is the amount. You can see those boxes here now. The QSR or the QR bill can be sent in three different ways. One is with the QR reference, one without QR reference, and one with the creditor reference, which is generated with this ISO standard. Again, this is super technical. For most small businesses, this is the one in the middle is the most important, where you have a QR bill with an IBAN number, with a simple IBAN number, and the information related to who is supposed to pay and your address. That's more or less sufficient. And the entire information is encoded into this QR code. QR codes are easy for computers to read because there are error correction and there's ways to correct even if there's a mistake or if there's a fold or something like that. So it does a very good job of encapsulating all the information. So like I said, different types of QR bill have different application. What I wanted to say in this slide is the key question we have to ask is, so what does it have to do with ERPNext at the moment? Does ERPNext have a way to generate QR codes or QR bill? ERPNext has an open source module that is written by LibraCore, a Swiss company. They've created a small module. It's also open source. And with that, you're able to install it next to ERPNext and generate QR bill. However, there's one problem with that. It does transfer some data to a remote server where the bill is generated or the QR code is generated and sends it back. And that is, for a lot of Swiss people, a no-go, to send it to a remote server. And therefore, I would say a lot of companies tend not to use it. We are creating a new app that doesn't use such a system where the data or the information is not sent to a third-party server. We're trying to create a system where the QR bill is generated within your app. So let's say you are running your own ERPNext system in your office, locally on premise. Then with this app, you can generate it you can generate a QR bill without sending it to a remote server. So that'll be a good thing. It's still work in progress, and hopefully it'll be released soon, and it's going to be open source, so you can download and install it. And like I said, if you're sending one invoice once in a day or once in a week or something like that, then there are online tools that are available, which I can show you very quickly. We also developed an online tool that you can use. And with that, we come to an end. It was a very short session. The session was not meant to be a very deep dive. So typically, as you can see, so here we are. This is the app that we have developed for our own use. So when we want to send a
we're not seeing your screen. If you want to just share your.
Yeah. So I have another screen open here. Let me maybe redo that. Share. Here it is. So we have created an app for our own use, internal use. And here again, you can see there's only three parts that you see: who it needs to be paid to, who is it paid by. So this is for us. If somebody has to pay us, this is our information. This is the customer's information, and this is the details where they have to pay us. This is the account number, this is the reference number, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to enter this because I've pre-filled all these things. And if I hit this QR bill, there you can see our QR bill is downloaded. And that's about it. So you can attach any other invoice separately and send it to them. This is just the QR code part of it. So if I say I want to make it, let's say, yeah, 100, and download the QR bill, again, it just downloads it exactly as it's supposed to be. So this QR bill generator generates it as per the standards. This uses also a library that is standard, that is used by almost all the companies in Switzerland. And the data is not sent to any server. In fact, this application does not even send it outside your own browser. Whatever is here is just, this entire invoice is generated on your local browser. So it's super safe. The only thing is we don't guarantee to anybody else that it will generate the right QR code. We have checked it for our own use. So I would use it with caution. So you can also check with a tool from UBS whether that QR code is a valid QR code or not. So with that, I guess that's about it. You have a tool to generate it, and soon hopefully we'll release a tool that works with ERPNext to automatically generate these invoices. So that's it. If there's any other questions, we can take it. Otherwise, we're good to go.
Seems like there's no questions today, Deepak. So,
so I'm gonna stop recording. Okay.